these people that are trying to basically silence, they're trying to not get this report available for people to see a different side. You know, I can hear people saying that we're communists. This isn't, again, like I said, this isn't a rally for one side of any. This isn't pro-government. This is us, the citizens, trying to ask for peace. Even though the Washington Post tells us not to say this, the reality is that there is a huge pressure behind all this, and it's the oil. Current administration would want to seize control of the oil. I mean, there they are. They're trying to control PDVSA. They're trying to get access to this great reserve of oil. I think that it's all pretty dirty when you put only your self-interest and you forget that you should get along with your neighbor. Because Venezuela is a natural neighbor. You just don't treat people like this. You don't treat other sovereign countries like this. And whether or not they believe that, you know, the current administration, that Maduro has a legitimate government or not, this isn't about this protest isn't about supporting a particular government in Venezuela. It's supporting the people and their right to choose what kind of government they want. Because America may want to protect its own self-interest as a country. Every country does, and that's understandable. But you can't just put that as your number one priority, you know, because everybody has interest. And supporting the sanctions like they're doing, supporting regime change, it's just another failed tactic. I mean, whatever happened to Donald Trump's campaign promise? Didn't he tell us that he wasn't going to do something like in Iraq? Wasn't that like the main thing? That was a very deciding factor. It's why people like me, we voted for Trump, because he said, I'm going to put a stop to the swamp. I'm going to do something different. And then he goes and hires Mike Pompeo, Marco Rubio to decide for the people of Venezuela. Please. It's pathetic.
Thank you so much, Yadira. Thank you.
My pleasure. Protestando a favor de la paz, because that's what we need right now. We need a bit of a cool head in the middle of this atmosphere of war. What do we need? Dialogue. We need peace. We need not get ourselves involved in another failed war of interference. Let's not meddle in other people's countries, because this isn't about whether you like Maduro or not. This is not about the man. This is about the millions of Venezuelans that are being affected by the sanctions. Sanctions that are making impossible to access medicine. Sanctions that were specifically designed, just like the ones in Cuba, to drive people nuts, to take them, to push them over the brink of sanity. Why? Because this is your classic recipe for regime change. Why? This isn't just about oil. This is about not letting China get access to that oil. This is about geopolitics. This is about hegemony. This is about trying to, once again, interfere in South American affairs. We need to get along with our neighbors. We need to respect them. If the Venezuelans decide to topple Maduro of their own accord, fine with me. If the Venezuelans decide to keep Maduro forever, we should be fine with that as well. We can't continue to plunge this country into another war. Look at what happened with Libya. Look at what happened with Syria. Wasn't Donald Trump the one who campaigned nonstop about not going into another failed regime change strategy? Huh? Didn't he like boasting about his negotiating capabilities? Huh? How come he tries to just get along so well with Kim Jong-un, who is a communist, yet continuously, just time and time again, pushes Maduro's offer to negotiate aside? Maduro wants to talk. If he wants to talk, let's talk. That's what civilization is about. It's not about crushing our opponents. It's not about taking what isn't ours. Let's not let ourselves get carried away and let our political leaders once again throw us into another war. Their sons and daughters are not the ones that are going to die. It's going to be the civilian population of Venezuela. And again, whatever the Venezuelans decide, they should do it without coercion, without pressure. It's not going to work. Look at Cuba. Cuba has suffered sanctions for decades. And yes, it's destroyed many lives, but it also tarnishes America's image in the world. Let's not do what has always been done, because it fails continuously. Let's give peace a chance. Let's talk. Let's negotiate. Let's try not to put another puppet like Juan Guaido, who just wasn't democratically elected. You know, they've been planning this forever. Why weren't there enough international observers there when Maduro called for them, huh? Because if you don't want to participate in the elections, we can't force you. Because if Maduro had forced the opposition to participate, then they would have said still that it was a dictatorship. Why? Again, it's not about democracy. Because, unfortunately, there are many, many dictatorships around the world, and they have total support of the United States government. Let's not be hypocrites. Let's treat everybody with the same respect, even if they don't have nuclear arms. Is that Maduro's biggest failure? You know, is that like his big mistake, that he doesn't have the kind of nuclear weapons that Kim Jong-un has? Let's try to be great, for real, you know, because last night in the State of the Union, Trump's talking about boasting about being great. I know what great is. Great is being able to set an example, being able to be what people look up to. And right now, you just need a glance at what's going on, like what really is going on with Venezuela, to understand that this path does not lead to greatness. It leads to shame. It leads to, well, a destruction of what America's image is in South America. Because you can't just simply topple a government with a tweet, you know, getting Marco Rubio to meet up with Guaido in secret, having all of these secret, undemocratic meetings. It just doesn't work like that. This is 21st century. We have access to information, okay? We're not going to be fooled. And yes, besides our protests, we might just get plunged into war like it happened in Iraq, you know? I mean, thousands protested and the war still went on. But we were here and we said no. And we'll see what happens. You know, once again, once we because we can make a difference. Don't let people tell you that, oh, it's all so cynical and worthless. No, we can make a difference. And if we protest enough, if we let others know what is really going on, I think we could perhaps change the course of history. Because if we don't, we're facing at World War III. That's how it is. I understand that all right now our economy is on the way to becoming number 3. You know, there's the Russian threat, there's the China threat, but this isn't the way. This isn't the manner in which you can stay on top. You know, you need to act on decency, get smart, be transparent, not plot, conspire behind curtains. Why? Because we deserve better than that. And then you hear people saying, oh, it's all right if we just have a few deaths here and there, all for the greater good. No, that sounds like fascism. That's like the Inquisition. I don't know, like medieval dark ages. That's terrible. We don't. We are better than that. And thank you for listening. Moderna. Interestingly enough, surprised by those people how when the reporter from Hispan TV, it's like they already target the media that they don't like. So whenever the reporter asks me questions, they would try to scream as loud as they can. So, you know, basically to silence my voice, because the far right doesn't believe in dissidency. It doesn't want opposition. They say, oh, we're the victims. No, you can't change the narrative. You people are always the fascist boot oppressing people. You may try to usurp the language. You may try to use the techniques, the tools, and the rhetoric of the left because it's just so attractive. You know why it's attractive? Because it's the truth. And they may try to steal everything. They may try to say that, oh, we want liberty. False, wrong. You know, why are the slaves the victims of the social media bubbles, the victims to selfishness, to corporations, you know, the people that are drooling over Marco Rubio, Punk Pompeo, Elliot Abrams, and the whole bunch that, you know, these people are yelling liberty. Please, you don't know the definition of liberty. You don't have critical thinking. Your brain just doesn't process like that. You know, like you go in social media and they're like, these people from the far right with tons and tons of fake profiles just begging Almagro from the OEAs. It's just please invade Venezuela, a military intervention. You are so immature. Venezuelan opposition of the far right. You don't know what that means. You're irresponsible. And when poor people from Los Cerros, when they come down, some of them have even been brainwashed by your insistent propaganda because the left is sometimes a little too shy to say what it really is, what it really wants. And they've taken advantage of that. They've taken advantage of our weakness. And when they say we want a military intervention in our lands, they know deep down that they're not going to be the ones spilling blood, like my friend said. Yeah, they're going to be here in Miami doing nothing. They're like, fuera, I was probably even here before you. This isn't about displacing people. Stop trying to create caravans so you can then criticize them. You know, that they're always trying to ship off their dissidents. Or how, some military dictatorships from the far right would be so proud. You know, I bet they would just love to put us in airplanes, to drop us into oblivion, to take away the children from the leftists and give them to sterile far-right couples that can't have children. You know, it's the same people. They haven't changed. Like I said, they may try to usurp our language, they may try to talk about liberty, fraternity, equality. BS, because you don't produce that. You know, you don't produce human rights, you violate human rights, but you just can't help it. You know we have the truth, so you want to look like us, you want to put yourself, surround yourselves in sheep's clothing so you can devour people more, because that's what it all is. It's just time and time again, another failed policy of regime change, and I'm just so sickened how Donald Trump has totally buried every single campaign promise that he had. I mean, even people from the far right, I mean, people like Ann Coulter are denouncing him like, could you stop flip-flopping on everything you promised? Could you just stay true to at least a 1% of what you promised us? Because he said, I am against regime change in Iraq. Look at the failed policies of the past administrations. We're going to do away with that, said Trump. And of course, you know, he's got Mike Pompeo and Marco Rubio doing regime change. Why? Because he doesn't even read his own intelligence reports. That guy doesn't read anything that they're giving him. Yet it's all wasted because the man is not learning. Because I'm pretty sure that somewhere in the current administration, there must be voices telling him, it could backfire. And I know that right now, to wrap it up, I know that we may be a minority here in Miami, but around the world there are more people that think like us because this is common sense. You know, and like it's gonna take 5 years, but eventually we will be proven right, and we will be the ones that were on the right side, on the side of decency and humanity and liberty, real liberty and real democracy. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bravo, bravo.
Hey!